Marvel Strike Force community. I am Cerebro, and welcome to your community update show. We have an X-Treme interview to get to today. I am so excited. I've said this before, but today I really mean it. I am excited. Let's get into it. Please welcome back to the show the amazing, the one and only Matt Danuser-Grant, principal game designer. How are you, good sir?
Hey, doing well. Good to be back.
Awesome. Well, I don't know about you, but I can hardly believe that we're already in December. The year has just flown by. Do you have any holiday traditions?
Yeah, definitely. The big one, my favorite, is just Christmas lights. I love Christmas lights. I love putting up Christmas lights. Yesterday I was telling my neighbors all about the Christmas lights I was putting up, / warning them and making sure they were okay with it.
Is there a reason why they would not be okay with you putting up lights?
There's just a lot of them. And there's a lot of them.
How many are we talking about here, Matt?
I mean, every year I put up all the lights we have and then go buy some more, so it keeps growing.
Oh, I see.
We do it in phases. We just kind of pull the box out, and then whenever my daughter comes home, we put more lights up, and we just keep doing that. And every year we buy more lights, so yeah.
Oh, so you might say it snowballs?
It does. It does, and it will continue to.
Well, speaking of the holidays, I feel like I'm personally getting a huge gift this year with the announcement of a new team, new characters. Would you please do the honors?
Yeah, so I am thrilled to announce that we are adding Nightcrawler to the game, along with his X-Treme X-Men, which includes 2 more new characters, Forge and Sunspot, and reworks for Cyclops and Gambit.
I absolutely cannot wait. For me, Marvel and video games have always gone together, so whenever I played a Marvel game, I always pick Nightcrawler first, just always. I'm hoping that there's going to be lots of BAMF with our version.
Oh yes. The BAMF himself will be teleporting all over the place. In fact, he has the very first unlimited range rebound chain attack. So if there are 2 enemies on complete opposite sides of the battlefield, he can just teleport back and forth and keep hitting them.
So you said unlimited range. Can you get a little bit more granular and talk about the mechanics of that?
His special attack is going to rebound chain 3 times. But each of those chains, as long as there is any other enemy on the field, he will reach them. He will teleport to them and hit them, no matter how far away they are. A lot of our rebound chains are adjacency based, so they have to be right next to each other. And Nightcrawler, with his teleportation powers, bypasses that and is able to rebound all over the place.
Before we dive into the kits, could you give us a little bit of backstory on this new trait of the X-Treme X-Men?
Yeah, certainly. So as you can maybe guess by the name, they debuted in the early 2000s, running from 2001 to 2004. The team featured some familiar faces, including Gambit and Rogue, with Sunspot also making an appearance. About 8 years later, there was a second run from 2012 to 2013 with a new team lineup featuring alternate universe versions of Nightcrawler and Cyclops. We took inspiration from both of those runs and worked closely with Marvel to choose Forge as our 5th member of the lineup. This makes Strike Force the only place to see and play with this distinct version of the X-Treme X-Men team.
Thank you very much for that setup. Now, we are going to talk about the team. We're not going to go into the details of all the kits because we'd be here all day. Could you give us a high-level description of the team, including some of the highlight synergies of the characters?
Yeah, for sure. So the X-Treme X-Men are your next mutant raid team. So they will be just breezing on through those Incursion 2 raids once properly built. While the raid is their primary goal, they also have, more so than previous teams, they have less locked to raids and less locked to X-Treme X-Men specifically, and a lot more opened up to all X-Men, not just the X-Treme X-Men. As for their specific utility in other modes, that's still kind of like a play and find out. They are a raid team, but they are not as locked to raids as our previous teams. Now, specifically, Nightcrawler, he is your speed battery. Nightcrawler's special ability costs 3 energy, very, very low, and provides speed bar to himself and his team. And that's increased in raids even further. But even outside of raids, every 3 turns, he's granting speed bar to the team. And this same ability is also the aforementioned unlimited range rebound chain. So constantly speeding up the team, constantly bouncing around the enemies. Nightcrawler's cool speed bar mechanic is gated by charges. He starts with 2. He cannot gain any more unless you bring Forge. One of Forge's cool things that he does for the team is on his ultimate ability, he applies +1 charged to all of your X-Men allies. He also applies +10 charged to Cyclops. Get into that later. But yeah, this is one of Forge's big things, is he's the charged generator, which keeps your team charged. You may be familiar with Gambit. Gambit also starts with some charged and runs out. No longer. If you bring Forge, you can keep putting those charges on Gambit, and Gambit can keep throwing out ability blocks. Forge is also the primary healer of the team. You really are going to want him to be able to sustain through all of the raid nodes, and he can revive. He's the kind of backup emergency button. When your run starts to go a little south, he can help you get back on track. Forge also has an invention mechanic, which is on his turn, he will craft one of 3 random inventions, and each invention does different things. Over the course of 3 turns, he will gain them all. But importantly, when you're fighting as Forge or against Forge, you can see visually these different inventions turn on and off. There's like a shoulder cannon and an eyepiece, and his gun transforms. It's awesome. But these things don't have like buff or debuff icons. You have to actually look at him and see which of his things are turning on and off. And each of the bonuses is really cool and impactful. So when the battle starts, when Forge takes his turn, there's this moment of excitement, like, okay, how am I going to play out this battle depending on which invention comes up? And then we've got Sunspot. He is your energy battery. His special gives out 1 energy to all of your X-Men allies. His ultimate gives out 2 energy, and also on spawn he will give out energy, but it's based on his own charges. So this is a raid specific mechanic, or it's intended that way, that over the course of multiple battles you'll build up Sunspot's charges higher and higher. So you enter battle 2 and 3 with a powered up Sunspot already ready to fight. His charges go up to 10, and he gains more passive healing, he gains more damage. When he reaches a threshold of 5 charges, he actually gives more damage to all of the X-Treme X-Men. And these charges drive his on-spawn give energy to all of the X-Treme X-Men, which is very important to their success in raids. Being able to start a new battle with your ultimates ready to go is good. Sunspot can also clear charges from all enemies. Only 1 charge from each enemy, but basically he's soaking in the rays, you know. He takes 1 charge from each enemy and grants them to himself. So against teams with lots of charges, he's extra effective at kind of clearing those charges away and ramping up his own charged capacity very quickly. I love Cyclops. He got lots of good stat increases to kind of bring him up to line with our modern characters. And additionally, you know, he's the leader of the X-Men. I mentioned before we were trying to lean further into just pure X-Men synergy. It's especially true on Cyclops. He has a lot of pure X-Men synergy, not specifically tied to X-Treme. But then also with the X-Treme X-Men in raids, he has the capability of going up to 40 charges. He was previously limited to 20, and now both on his own kit, his passive can slowly get up to 40 based on your X-Treme X-Men turns. Or, as I mentioned previously with Forge can just give him 10, and that plus 10 also goes up to 40. That is Cyclops' job now in raids, is gaining charges and telling people to get off his lawn. We all know and love Gambit, and now he's even better. Some of his things that were locked to Crucible are now Crucible or raids. Some of his things that were locked to Crucible are now just everywhere. such as his on-spawn charge. Used to start with 1 +1 in Crucible. That's now just +2 everywhere. He also gained stat boost to bring him up to par, not as much as Cyclops.
Circling back to something you said a little bit ago, that the X-Treme X-Men, we expect that those can probably sim incursion rate. Are we talking about like the highest level difficulties here? Like if you max out the team?
That's the goal, yes. When they come out, the highest difficulty mutant nodes will be simmable by the full X-Treme X-Men. They do have some mechanics that help them with that. Forge has some reactive healing and some any turn healing, so he's always kind of topping off the lowest health people. Nightcrawler gives out evades to your lowest health allies, so that helps the AI get through these battles.
Okay, so we added some mechanics in there specifically with potential simming in mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
A lot of their raid-specific mechanics are also, at least the way I was thinking about them, is like, oh, in raids, they really need the AI to do this thing properly. So I'm going to add this in raid as a raids bonus to help them sim. A big one is actually Cyclops. Cyclops' special applies taunt to enemies, so you can get around enemy taunts. But now in raids, it also applies taunt to your 2 healthiest X-Men allies. Every time Cyclops specials, he's distracting the enemies, having them attack whoever's the healthiest. So constantly having the enemies attack whoever's healthiest, constantly having Forge heal whoever's lowest. All of these things combine to let the AI pilot its way through the battles for us.
So diamonds are a new feature to the game, so we should probably touch on that really quick. As players are powering up this team, you've got 5 characters. You've got some choices on which you're going to try and get to 3 diamonds first. Do you have any recommendations on which you would recommend prioritizing?
The obvious answer is Nightcrawler, because he's Nightcrawler. Another way to approach it is you want the backup emergency button to be the strongest. And in that case, you want Forge to have the highest stats, because he's the healer. His heals are based on his health stat. And he has the revive. He has the only revive on the team. So if Forge does go down, then your team could fall apart. But it's probably more effective to just make Nightcrawler a complete damage monster first. Or Cyclops. If you want to go for the biggest 40 charged ultimate of all time, throw diamonds on Cyclops.
40 charges, please. 40-piece charge.
40 charge times 3 diamonds plus offense up. Yeah.
Equals not just get off my lawn, get out of my neighborhood.
Yes.
And of course, we always have to talk about ISO 8. And always, again, I say subjective, play with what you want, guys. But Matt, could you give us some recommendations if people are looking for them on ISO 8 for each character?
Yeah, definitely. So starting with Nightcrawler, usually these latest and greatest damage dealing characters, you just put Striker on by default. But I think Nightcrawler is actually a raider, because his basic attack has lots of bonus attacks, and those bonus attacks do not translate to his counter assist ISO attack. And he does have some crit synergy. He gains more regen per crit, for example. Forge, as your team healer, it is always acceptable to use the healer ISO on your healer characters. Did a lot of my testing with the healer ISO on him. But also Striker, conversely, how Striker is maybe not the best for Nightcrawler, Striker is maybe really good for Forge, because Forge's basic gives out deflect and regen to all of your X-Men allies. So if you can proc those extra deflects and extra regens consistently, then Striker is a worthy alternative to healer. Sunspot is actually another example of the way his basic works and the way his passive works with the charge mechanics. You want Striker on Sunspot, because that gives you extra basic attacks through the ISO assist, and that gives you more charges. And the more you charge him up, the better he gets, the more energy for your whole team. So this one, more than usual, I'm going to say probably just go with Striker on Sunspot. But also, he is a massive debuff character as well. So Skirmisher, the extra focus from Skirmisher is also good for him. Cyclops, as we just mentioned, he does some big damage with his big ultimate. And for that purpose, I once again like Raider, because if you can get crits on that big 40 charged ultimate, you are a happy X-Men. And then Gambit. I know a lot of people use Gambit as a Raider, and I don't see any reason to change that. He has really important crit synergy on his passive, giving the team evades. You can just leave your Gambit as Raider.
All right, Matt. Well, I am one happy camper. Again, my favorite character to play as in games is finally coming, Nightcrawler. I feel like I've got to talk about it just one more time. Can we just talk about how great this is going to be, please?
He's the best. Nightcrawler's the best. I'm so excited. I've been watching him teleport all over the battlefield for many weeks now, and I'm so excited for everyone to be able to play around with him, and I can't wait to read all the comments about him. and I'm just so excited for all of the X-Treme X-Men, really. I actually love Forge as a character, so I'm super excited for him. Just thrilled all around. Can't wait. Thank you, Cerebro. Thank you, MSF community. Thank you, everyone.
You should thank me for my patience, Matt, because I've been waiting over 5 years.
Thank you for your patience, Cerebro.
All right, Matt. When? Please tell me, when can I get this team in my hands?
The X-Treme X-Men will be available in our next major release, 7.6, which is coming very soon.
All right, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and tell us about this amazing team. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Enjoy.
What's up, Commanders? Community Manager Archangel here, bringing you this episode's Community Spotlight. Did you enjoy the previous segment all about the X-Treme X-Men? Are you as excited about the X-Men as I am? Well, in the spirit of excitement over X-Men, let's first start off and show some love to our players on the Facebook community and notice these posts about Nightcrawler. First up, we have William, who says, "Best Christmas present ever! I've been waiting 5 years for him to come to the game." Yes, Nightcrawler is upon us, William. We're all excited, yes. Next, we have Dominique, who shows an appreciation post for Death Seed. He laments that we're getting ready to get the new mutant raid team, X-Treme X-Men. So Death Seed is going to be retired in the hardest raid. So it is sad. So Death Seed, we will miss you. But X-Treme X-Men's coming. This next post I had to share because it made me chuckle. Sam posted, "Beat God just barely." He beat him by 2 points. He beat God. Good job, Sam. Next up, we have Julius, who shows off his huge Agent Venom. Gear tier 18, 1 diamond. Dude, I hope you're doing Incursion Raid 2 and you have Super Scroll and are taking on those nodes. Good job. Finally, for our Facebook love section, we have Pokey, who put this screenshot up and entitled it, "What the heck, man, 62 bleeds." Okay, look at this screenshot. Okay, zoom in. 62 bleeds on Morgan Le Fay. And then look just over a little bit at Heartless. He's got 44 bleeds. What is up with all those bleeds? That's hilarious. Next, Commanders, we have our art segment, and we have a special one today. Do you know the 9 words to activate Winter Soldier? Let's do them together. Longing, rusted, 17, daybreak, furnace, 9, benign, homecoming, 1, freight car. And Winter Soldier is activated, ready to comply. Yes, that one chaotic artist supplied us with this gem. Not only is the artwork amazing, I love that they put the 9 words on the poster. Amazing work. Next, I have one epic replay to share with you. I was recently enlightened to how amazing our game looks on a folding phone because of the aspect ratio. Normally, when you use Green Goblin Classic's ultimate ability, you'll see the characters blow off screen and fall back down. Well, with a folding phone, you actually get to see how high they go. It's hilarious. Watch. Finally, Commanders, just want to take a moment to remind you of where you can get all the great information that you may be looking for our game. Please be sure to check out MarvelStrikeForce.com. But please go to our official Discord. Even if you're not looking to fully engage and talk with other people, please go on there and at least have access to the announcements channel. Anytime something really important comes up or there's any official communication, that is the best place to go to immediately get that information. And also, check out the art channel, the Epic Replay channel, and the Brag channel. Please go there and show off some of your artwork, show off some of your epic replays, record some great battles, and let us see them. And just maybe you will be shared on the Community Spotlight.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button. It really helps a lot with the algorithm stuff. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more episodes of Strike Time. We'll see you all next time. More coffee. 1 second.